Welcome to Cali Steak. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so you get the newest content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You know, the trade deadline, all these things are out there. You hear them a lot. You're seeing them a lot on sites. And, you know, as far as the Clippers, you're hearing and seeing them a lot, you know, quite steadily. Especially I am, based upon all the sites and stuff I look at. It's a few sites I trust the most, but I'm just looking pretty much everywhere, you know, that I can think of. And, you know, I'm seeing a lot in regards to trade situations with the Clippers. And, you know, I was looking at clutchpoints.com specifically, and they, you know, them and Yahoo and a few others spoke about a potential trade that, you know, the Clippers should look into. And that trade that they're talking about is a trade with the Toronto Raptors. Now, before I go any further, a trade with the Toronto Raptors, to me, is always a good thing if the Clippers are looking that direction specifically, because, you know, that was a championship team minus Kawhi Leonard once he left. They pretty much have all the same supporting cast besides, you know, Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol, due to the fact that, you know, Marc Gasol retired and Serge Ibaka probably should retire since, you know, Serge isn't the player he once was. But regardless, the trade that is suggested for the Clippers to make is for Fred VanVleet. Now, me personally, I wouldn't even hesitate to get Fred VanVleet. I would pull the trigger as quickly as anybody else can. I mean, because first of all, he's a champion. He knows how to play, and really, he's putting up all-star, maybe not all-star numbers, but I mean, he's having a really solid season this year. He's averaging like 18 points, shooting over 45+% from the field. I mean, you know, Fred VanVleet has always been one of those players I think that a championship team needs, because he's a sixth man that can come off the bench and provide, you know, starter type numbers. I mean, I've seen Fred VanVleet put up 25, 30 points, 30 plus points in a game before easily. I mean, not even, seemed like he wasn't even really trying, you know, because he's that good of a six man. And I can tell you right now, you know, he's also a point guard. He also can play the point guard position. And on top of that, you know, he brings you championship DNA. And that's exactly what Kawhi Leonard needs on this team. That's exactly what the Clippers need more of on this team. They need more championship DNA. They need guys who really know how to play the position, play their position to a high level to, you know, win a championship. And the only way to do that is to, you know, get the best out of the players you have. And if you make a trade, have the necessary pieces there who have championship DNA and who can, you know, spread that wealth amongst the players that you already have who don't have a championship, and, you know, get everybody on the same page so they can play like it. And I can tell you now, I think that would be a great trade for the Clippers. Now, clutchpoints.com specifically, their trade scenario was very, very interesting. It would be Fred VanVleet and Hernan Gomez, I believe, and a guy. They got somebody on the bench named Barton. I don't think those two would see any playing time, but it would be for Amir Coffey, Brandon Boston Jr., and Jason Preston, along with Robert Covington. Now, me personally, I'm not giving up all that, you know, for one good player, and the other two are basically guys that's just going to fill up the bench. And I think they were talking about maybe a pick or two somewhere in there. But regardless, I'm not giving up Robert Covington. I would definitely keep him, because if you lose too much of your depth on your bench, it's just going to make you a little bit more vulnerable. And I feel like he's a big part of the depth that they have on the bench in regards to, you know, especially playing defense. He's a big part of their bench in regards to their depth and everything. And plus, he can knock down shots too, you know, at times as well. So I mean, he's just a big piece. And Brandon Boston has really, you know, learned the culture a little bit. So I mean, he's one of their upcoming, you know, star possible players. You know, I definitely would try to keep him as well. Maybe Amir Coffey. If you wanted to trade Marcus Morris, I'd be open to trading Marcus Morris specifically. So I definitely would look that direction. Maybe you might think different. You can leave that in the comment section if you think somebody else should be traded. But hell, maybe some people might even say Zubac, you know. But still, I just wouldn't give up too much, you know, to get back, you know, one guy. Because one guy, you have to understand, one guy, and Fred VanVleet is definitely worth every bit of that trade. He is, no doubt. But what if he gets hurt? What if he gets injured? Now you're missing Robert Covington. Now you're missing Brandon Boston, and whoever else they might decide to trade, or whoever they might decide to trade if they went through with this. You're missing like multiple pieces, and you're missing Fred VanVleet because for some reason, or just coincidence, he got injured as soon as he got to the Clippers, hypothetically. Now you're missing out on a lot. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's one of those tricky situations. You want to get something good, but you don't want to give up too much, because if that one good thing, doesn't work out, then you lost all the way around. So it's like, it's kind of a tricky situation with that. And I definitely understand. So the Clippers really got their eyes, their sights on a trade, but who knows what trade the Clippers should actually go with. But me personally, if I were them, I definitely would look into this one. I definitely would reach out and give them a call and see, what Toronto would say, because this would be a trade that's more or less, it's just ideal to me. Definitely ideal, because I respect Fred VanVleet, and I think he can definitely make the Clippers a lot better. And there again, we would have somewhat of the Toronto Raptors 2.0, because they have Norman Powell, they got Kawhi Leonard, and they add Fred VanVleet. I mean, I think that would make them so much better, because with VanVleet, you can have him start or come off the bench. He probably prefers to come off the bench, so you can have Terrence Mann start the way you have him starting now, which he brings a lot of energy, a lot of everything the Clippers need, on the floor. And, you can have him sub out and put Fred VanVleet in so he could finish out games. He would be the closer for their games. Fred VanVleet is a good closer, what I'm saying? So that, mid-second quarter, put him in, late third, and put him in like mid-fourth quarter. I mean, you got, if Ty Lue chose to do that, I mean, you'd have a damn good roster on the floor, and you'd have, somebody who can control the ball, and Fred VanVleet who can score, knock down shots, and now you're more well-rounded as an offense. And a lot of players in the league respect VanVleet, so it's like when he's on the floor, they know he's a scoring threat. So I mean, if I were the Clippers, I definitely would look into this one. I definitely would look into it heavy. I would definitely be weary about who I trade, but it's definitely worth looking into, and it's definitely worth pulling the trigger regardless, for the most part. So I definitely would see what the Toronto Raptors would say if I were the Clippers, and go from there, because really their season hasn't turned out so far like they had hoped, or as we had hoped, but regardless, they still got time, and they still can make a trade that can make a lot of a difference. So let's just see what they do. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check my other videos if you haven't, and hey, till next time.